This is Nadersha in Chicago, and you're watching my channel, Knowledge for Quality of Life. I welcome all of those who just recently joined the channel, and I apologize not doing the vlog last week due to some extra work I had to take care of. Like my car's maintenance was due, and my dishwasher intake valve was bad. I had to fix that as well. So it was quite hectic. I hope you guys are all doing well. And today I want to share something unique about me and my wife test, which we did back in 2021. And I mentioned in one of the vlog previously about year and a half ago when I was discussing about Vibrant Labs of America macro and micronutrient test. That is not normally covered by the insurance, and I had to pay my up from my pocket to cover that cost. So each test at that time used to cost for each one of us 400 each. What they do actually, they check each and every vitamins in your blood at the serum level and at the cellular level, okay? And they check all the trace minerals, everything. It's a very extensive test. Now, once we received the report, there was a half an hour consulting as well, which was included as a part of the test, which was free. We didn't pay anything. It was included in the cost. The lady asked me that, what you guys eat. And I explained my whole regime, what we eat. And I said that, is there anything wrong in the test? And by that time, we haven't received the test. So, once they offer you consulting and then they dispatch the test results to you. And they take the time to explain in that 30 minutes. So she said that, I see a lot of tests and I consult with many patients and many clients but your report is one of the best I have seen in recent time. And but few things are there. Now I wanted to ask her before I jump to the question. She said that I'm going to explain you what you can do. And I said that let me know that what are the things which I'm lacking in. And she said that do you eat liver in your diet? And I said no. I remember that when I was little, my mom used to feed me a small chunk once or twice a week of a goat liver. And after that, we were grown up. I came to the United States. We forgot about it. Okay. I never had it before. So she said that, you are lacking, and your wife is both of you are lacking in vitamin B3 and B5. Basically B3 is the most. We know that, from our understanding that vitamin B3 is nothing but niacin. And I remember that, earlier days, my doctor told me when my HDL was not bumping up, and, he said that, I can give you a prescription form of niacin and, you can increase your HDL because a lot of heart patients, doctors give them niacin. But I am a big proponent of food item rather than supplement, right? So I said that, well, I'm going to, incorporate liver in my diet. No problem. So since then, we started incorporating liver in our diet. And she said that, you don't have to eat a whole lot, probably twice a week, 3 to 4 ounces, in one serving for each one of you. So that's fine. And since then, we incorporated. And then I followed up with my, particularly B panel test. And I monitor on a yearly basis just a B panel with my other tests, which I have shared with you guys in the vlog, about 25, 27 tests. So after 21, we incorporated that in the diet, and I see the improvement big time. All my B panel, it was completely normal, almost optimum. Now, I was curious to know that, what are the things present in liver? I apologize to my all vegetarian friends who don't eat liver for their personal belief system. And I respect that. But, I want to share something that why these different B vitamins are crucial. Okay. Because I personally believe, based on my research and study, that each and every element in our diet is crucial, okay? And there is a function for that. And if we deprive from that element or that mineral or that vitamin for a long period of time, our body is going to compensate and cry for something in various form, the symptoms wise. Okay. So I try my level best to make sure that, all the nutrients, all the minerals which are coming in the test are coming either normal or at the optimum. Okay. So I got curious and I said that, let me find out. So I did some research and find out, try to look at it, that what are the things, main ingredients, main potent vitamins and minerals and, micronutrients are present in the liver. And I wanted to share with you guys that, so that you can appreciate. Now, those folks who are not eating liver, I just want you to know that why only B12 is not the critical element, because we normally hear these things that, oh, okay, I'm taking the B12 supplement in the pill form, all my vegetarian friends, that I'm okay. What about B1? What about B3? What about B5? What about other Bs? Each and every B has its own function. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys so that you can see. So what you see here is liver as a complete food. This is the only food on the planet, it's complete food. It has B vitamins, it has nutrients, it has minerals, it has a lot of things. And today, my purpose is to highlight those things and what their major functions in the body is, so that you guys can appreciate it. Animal liver, particularly beef, lamb, and chicken liver, is among the most nutrient-dense foods available. It is exceptionally rich in all B vitamins, high-quality protein, essential minerals, fat-soluble vitamins, many other bioactive compounds. Because it contains such a broad spectrum of nutrients, liver is often referred as nature's multivitamin. Okay? It's a superfood. Now, I'll come to the point that, what kind of a liver we should be looking for. Now, we know that, beef or, goat or chicken, they can feed anything, junk wise. They are supposed to eat, if it's a beef, if it's a cow, then they are supposed to, eat only grass. So, when I look for beef liver, I would go with grass-fed and grass-finished beef liver, including if I'm consuming the beef, I have to find out that grass-fed beef and grass-finished beef meat item, or the liver, because liver, we know that it's a purifying factory. It removes all the toxins from our human body and including the animals. Okay, so you have to make sure that that the animal which we are using the liver from, it's not being fed all the junks, like soybean or corn or any other item. Okay, it has to be a grass-fed, grass-finished beef. Okay, liver. If it's a chicken liver, then of course it should be a pasture-raised chicken. Okay, not cage chicken, organic pasture-raised chicken liver. That is also good. So these are the different things you can see in liver and their functions. All right, and then their quantities here. So approximate amount is 100 gram of beef liver. These are the vitamins present. Vitamin B1, which is thiamine. B2, riboflavin. B3 is niacin, as I said. B5, pantothenic acid. So these are all important things, because normally we don't get this thing in B12 supplement unless you pick a supplement which is a B complex, which includes all these items. Okay, and it should be a whole food based mineral. It shouldn't be including any synthetic elements in that multivitamin. So B1 converts carbohydrates into energy, supports nerve function, brain health, and heart function. B2, essential for energy production, antioxidant, regeneration, skin health, and metabolism of fats, drugs, and hormones. Look at these items. How the body is, wired, that each and everything it needs for proper functionality, okay? Supports, B3 supports cellular energy production, DNA repair, nervous system health, and skin integrity. B5 required synthesis for coenzyme A. There's a coenzyme A, just like CoQ10, steroid hormones, neurotransmitters, and energy metabolism. So these are various. B6, of course, it's for the immune function, amino acid metabolism, and hemoglobin synthesis. Then B7, biotin. Biotin is very good for your hair, which a lot of people gobble in supplements, but because you need moderate amount, otherwise you can have a toxic effect, okay? And of course, food is not going to give you anything. This is my personal experience, okay? And I'll come to the point that, how I make the liver as well, okay? Then B9, folate, okay? This is very critical, folate, about 290 microgram. Critical for DNA synthesis, cell division, fetal development. A lot of pregnant women are recommended for folate and, B12, okay? For the nourishment of the baby in mom's womb, okay? This is very critical. And B12, of course, as we know, essential for nerve health, DNA synthesis, methylation, and red blood cells formation. Then here, complete nutrient profile of a liver. Calories for 100 gram cooked beef liver, about 175 calories. Protein is 26 to 27 grams. Fat is very little, okay? 5 to 6 grams. Carbohydrates, it's one of the keto diet, okay? Keto element is very, very reflective in consuming the beef liver or chicken liver or lamb liver. These are the fat-soluble vitamins. Vitamin A, retinol, okay? Vision, immune function, skin health, reproduction, gene expression. Now, a lot of folks, thinks that, carrot has vitamin A, but that is a beta-carotene form. And body is not very smart to convert beta-carotene into retinol, okay? So, you have to eat at least minimum 2 large size of the carrot to get your vitamin A into the retinol conversion based on individual functions, how individual body converts beta carotene into retinol. But this is a retinol form directly in the beef liver form, in the liver form, okay? So you can get directly, retinol. You're not depending on your body to convert beta carotene into retinol. Vitamin D, trace amount, nothing, almost non-existent, okay? Bone health, of course, we know what the vitamin D does. Vitamin E, antioxidant protection of cell membranes. Vitamin K2, small amounts. This is MK7 form, okay? Then iron, hemoglobin iron, oxygen transport, energy production, prevention of anemia, okay? A lot of people who are anemic, this doctors say that, when, like I remember that, why my mom used to feed me because, I was a little low on the iron count. So my mom used to feed me liver twice a week when I was a little kid. Okay. It has copper, it has zinc, and these are all functions in the body, because you need trace minerals. These are all trace minerals. Okay. Copper, zinc, selenium, so I'll share another vlog for trace minerals as well. Okay, selenium, trace mineral, phosphorus, for ATP production, bone health, cell membranes, potassium, magnesium, manganese, then other important compounds found in liver, choline, which is very potent, extra available in eggs also, okay? Choline is very good for our eyes also. Brain function, of course, memory and production of neurotransmitter, etc. CoQ10, we have heard this, CoQ10. A lot of people who are on statin, their doctors don't tell their CoQ10 because, when you take statin, your CoQ10 depletes, as a side effect. So you have to supplement. Talk to your doctor that, if you're on statin drug, you have to take CoQ10. But, this liver has CoQ10. It supports mitochondrial energy production and acts as an antioxidant. It's a very important thing. It's an excellent source for your heart. Then you have so many things here. It has taurine, carnitine, and then liver is considered as complete food, as I said earlier. Complete, highly bioavailable protein, nearly all B vitamins in substantial amount. You don't have to worry about anything. Just like I said that me and my wife, use in our diet twice a week, 3 to 4 ounce each serving each day. Okay. Essential minerals such as copper, zinc, selenium, phosphorus, choline, and etc. So it says that although extremely nutritious, liver should be considered in moderation because of its very high vitamin A content, because the potency of A is quite high. You saw that earlier. I showed you, here vitamin A. It has about close to 10,000 IU. Okay, so that's why we have to limit in moderation. For most healthy adults, consuming liver once or twice per week, approximately 3 to 6 ounces per serving, provides abundant nutrients without excessive intake. All right, let me stop share here this screen. So now the question is that how do we cook the liver? That's the most important thing, because I know my Asian friends. There's an item there, they call it 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗲𝗿, right? They have all the organ meat. Then they it's a big pan, and then fry it, and then they chop it, and then they can eat it. But the amount of heat you should give to the liver cooking is very controlled. Okay, remember that. That's the key thing. And I learned as a kid, my mom used to cook it, and I used to ask her question that, Mom, why you are cooking this way? My mom taught me, and of course, the latest science tells us this thing that, you should, cook the liver at a very slow flame, number one. So what I do, I take a pan, I put extra virgin olive oil in there. Before that, I take the liver, about 7 ounce, for 3.5 for each one of us, clean it, wash with 3 times with water, and then I put a little bit turmeric in there. And then to activate the curcumin in turmeric, you have to put a little bit black pepper, ground black pepper, because black pepper has a chromium in it. Okay, and that activates the curcumin, because otherwise, if you're taking turmeric just like that without adding the black pepper, most likely you are not going to get benefit of curcumin, which is present in the turmeric. Okay, so I put a little bit fresh ground black pepper, and then put a pinch of dry garlic, pinch of dried ginger. Okay, and I mix it, with the spoon, and leave it there for about 5 to 10 minutes to marinate. And then once it's done, marination is done, I take a pan and put extra virgin olive oil, about 2 tablespoons, and then let it simmer a little bit, and then put those livers in there. Okay, after the marination is done, and then I keep tossing the liver one side, then the other side, and then the other side after some time, each minute or so. You will see within 5 to 7 minutes when to stop. That's the key, when to stop it. Okay, you will see that slowly and gradually the blood which is coming out while you're cooking from the liver is going to start drying up. Okay, once it dries out, the blood and the meat should remain a little bit pinkish. You don't want to turn the meat into dark brown, just like well done, because you're going to kill the nutrients. You are going to kill the vitamins. That's the key thing due to which we are eating the liver. So the meat should remain a little bit pinkish. And then if its blood is dried out, you turn off the stove and you are done. Okay, and then you split your portion and you eat about 3 to 4 ounces twice a week. You will have no issue with any bees. Okay, and you will get extra energy and extra minerals, extra micronutrients, which is a bonus. Okay. If I explain you, it's very simple. I've shared with my few friends, and they love it as well. So if you are non-veg, if you are not vegetarian, try to incorporate this liver item in your diet, and you will reap the benefits. I hope you will enjoy this vlog. And if you have any questions regarding that, please include in the comment section, and I'll try to address it in a timely manner. See you next week. Bye.